It's not every day that a single piece of fabric makes the entire internet stop scrolling, but somehow, Jimin did it again. And no, it wasn't because he was standing under stadium lights or performing in front of millions. This time, it was a jersey. Just a jersey. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. Because what happened next left people completely speechless, and one of the very people who helped bring that iconic jersey to life couldn't even hide his disbelief. You guys, can we talk about this for a second? Because honestly, this isn't just another headline. It isn't just another auction result. It's one of those moments that quietly reminds you how powerful genuine love, artistry, and emotional connection can become. And trust me, the number itself wasn't even the most shocking part. The reaction was. Imagine opening your phone, casually checking your notifications, expecting an ordinary day. Then suddenly seeing that the custom jersey you helped create had just surpassed the auction bid for one associated with Lionel Messi. You blink. You check it again. Surely that's a mistake. Right? Apparently not. That exact feeling seemed to echo through Big Bang, the co-director of AGRO Studio, the creative fashion studio behind Jimin's unforgettable custom jersey for the FIFA World Cup final halftime show. Instead of posting a long explanation, instead of writing paragraphs, he simply shared the news on his Instagram story. And the words? This is insane. Just 6 simple words. Yet somehow, those words carried everything. Shock. Disbelief. Pride. Excitement. The kind of reaction that can't be rehearsed. The kind that slips out before your brain even catches up with what your eyes are seeing. Can you imagine being part of a creative team? Pouring your heart into designing something unique. Watching every stitch, every texture, every tiny detail come together. Only to realize months later that the piece had become something much bigger than fashion itself? Because that's exactly what this feels like. People often think an auction is just about numbers. Higher bid. Lower bid. Sold. Done. But anyone who has ever loved music, loved art, or even treasured a small souvenir from a meaningful memory, knows it has never been about the object alone. It's about what that object remembers. And Jimin's jersey. It remembers everything. It remembers the lights, the rehearsals, the pressure, the anticipation, the heartbeat before stepping onto one of the world's biggest stages. It remembers millions of eyes waiting, millions of hearts racing, millions of people holding their breath. How does something like that not become priceless? Honestly, can we really separate the fabric from the moment it witnessed? Probably not. And maybe that's exactly why people were willing to fight for it. But here's where the story becomes even more emotional. Because Big Bang wasn't reacting as a fan watching from home. He was someone who had actually seen this creation before the world did. Think about that. Before the cameras. Before the applause. Before social media exploded. He had already watched this jersey transform from sketches to materials, to fittings, to reality. He knew every decision behind it. Every creative discussion. Every adjustment. Every tiny detail people might never even notice. And yet, even he couldn't predict this. This is insane. There was something incredibly human about that reaction. No corporate statement. No marketing language. Just pure amazement. And honestly, didn't that make the entire moment even more beautiful? Because sometimes the most genuine emotions are the shortest ones. Meanwhile, ARMY noticed immediately. Screenshots spread within minutes. Discussions started everywhere. People weren't simply celebrating that Jimin's jersey received an incredible bid. They were celebrating what it represented. Support. Respect. Connection. Influence. You could almost feel the excitement jumping across timelines. One person would post the screenshot. Another would react with disbelief. Someone else would remember watching Jimin during that unforgettable halftime performance. Then another fan would quietly say, "I knew this jersey would become iconic." And suddenly, thousands agreed. It's fascinating how Jimin creates these moments. Not by demanding attention, but by naturally becoming unforgettable. That's something people around him often seem to notice first. His presence doesn't scream. It lingers. It stays with you. Long after the performance ends. Long after the cameras stop rolling. Long after the music fades away. Isn't that such a rare kind of charisma? There are artists who dominate a stage through sheer power. Then there are artists like Jimin, who somehow make silence feel just as powerful. Even before he moves, you notice him. Even before he sings, something changes. Even before he smiles, people are already watching. How does he even do that? Honestly, I don't think anyone has completely figured it out. Maybe that's why stories like this keep happening. Because the emotional impact doesn't stop once the concert ends. It keeps growing. Weeks later. Months later. Sometimes even years later. And just when you think everyone has finally moved on, another unexpected moment appears. Like this auction. Like Big Bang's reaction. Like the reminder that something created for one performance somehow continues writing new chapters long afterward. But wait. That wasn't even the part that made many fans emotional. Because if you really think about it, this wasn't only recognition for Jimin. It was also recognition for every artist who worked quietly behind the scenes. Designers, stylists, creative directors, pattern makers, tailors, people whose names often remain hidden while their work shines under stadium lights. Big Bang's reaction almost felt like seeing one of those invisible heroes receive a surprise standing ovation. You could almost picture him smiling at his phone, shaking his head, thinking, did this really just happen? There's something incredibly touching about that image. Because creative people rarely know how deeply their work will touch others. They create with hope, with instinct, with passion. But the audience decides the legacy. And in this case, the audience spoke louder than anyone expected. The value wasn't created inside an auction room. It had already been created months earlier. The moment millions connected emotionally with Jimin wearing it. That's the difference. Money simply reflected what people already felt. Can we also appreciate how Jimin has this incredible ability to turn fashion into memory? Not luxury. Not trends. Memory. When people think about his performances, they don't only remember choreography. They remember colors, silhouettes, movement, the way fabric flowed as he danced, the sparkle beneath stadium lights, the elegance, the emotion. Everything becomes part of the story. It's almost cinematic. You can close your eyes and still picture him walking confidently toward the center of the stage. The lights slowly rising. The music beginning. The anticipation becoming almost unbearable. Then, that first step. That first glance. That first breath. Suddenly the outfit isn't just clothing anymore. It's part of the performance itself. Maybe that's why collectors understood its significance. Maybe that's why bidding continued. Maybe that's why even seasoned creatives like Big Bang found themselves genuinely stunned. Because moments like these don't happen often. They can't be manufactured. They can't be forced. They're simply born from genuine emotional impact. And Jimin has built an entire career creating exactly those kinds of moments. One after another. Quietly. Consistently. Beautifully. But you guys. There's another detail that keeps replaying in my mind. Big Ong could have ignored the news. He could have celebrated privately. He could have simply liked a post and moved on. Instead, he shared it. Immediately. Why? Because even someone who lives inside the fashion world recognized this wasn't ordinary. This is insane. Exploding head. Those emojis somehow said everything words couldn't. Half laughing. Half completely overwhelmed. Almost like, are we all seeing the same thing? Yes. Yes, we were. And honestly, we're probably going to remember this reaction almost as much as the auction itself. Because sometimes, history isn't only written by record-breaking moments. Sometimes, it's written by the expressions they leave on people's faces. The stunned smile. The widened eyes. The quiet disbelief. The joyful shake of the head. Those tiny human reactions become part of the story too. And somehow, that's exactly what happened here. A jersey became more than memorabilia. A designer became a witness to something extraordinary. A single Instagram story became another reminder that Jimin's influence continues reaching places nobody can fully predict. And just when it feels like you've seen everything, like you've already witnessed every possible surprise, something unexpected appears again, leaving everyone wondering, what incredible moment could possibly come next?